So the 7,000 yard, 7,000 foot runway. Is this something that needs to grow in order to take on more aircraft? Like the reason is the bigger aircraft require a longer runway in order to land, basically, right?
Yeah, I would say right now we don't really need longer. We're not because we can take that 737-800, so we're taking fairly large aircraft if needed to come and go.
Yeah. And just for the listeners to put that into perspective, that's 186 seats.
Yeah.
On an aircraft. So that's basically what Air Transat's flying to the Caribbean out of Toronto Pearson.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is a 737-800.
And so when we're talking about like the slot times with Pearson, like this is basically open-ended in the sense that you guys have lots of slots available, or like how many slots?
Oh, that's a complicated one. Yeah, because so Toronto Pearson is very much controlled airspace. They have air traffic controllers. We are completely uncontrolled at Peterborough. There is no tower. There's no air traffic control to tell the planes where to fly. It's just open communication between the pilots. They have to have radios coming in here. It's called a mandatory frequency. But it's an uncontrolled airport, so there are no slot times. People can come and go whenever they want to, 24 hours a day.
And so if you're a pilot and you're getting ready to land here, you're scanning the sky, making sure that no one else is already hitting the runway, kind of thing.
Yeah, and you're communicating with the other pilots. It's a lot of radio communication. There's standard procedures that they have to fly when they're coming in. Right. So as long as they're flying those procedures, talking to the other pilots on the radio, it's not a problem. So
if you guys were interested in doing like the bigger airplanes where it's like Air Transat going down to, some place, would you do like a blackout time where you say like, look, no one's landing for this period, or
no,
just the 737s that are coming in, they would have the same sort of...
They would make it work. They have the same training. We've seen it enough times with the companies that Scott has used. We've seen it with First Air and Canadian North and Nolinor and Porter that one time. The pilots know how to operate, whether it's controlled or uncontrolled, and they just work around the traffic that's there. And our day-to-day operations, so our flight school or our general aviation guys are pretty accommodating when it comes to that. They're not going to get in the way of a 737 that needs to come in, right?
So
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a tower. Let's talk about a tower. When would that be a requirement? At what point?
Oh, that's a complicated, complex question.
I thought so, but
because it's not up to us. It's up to NAV Canada. And we have had the discussions with them about, whether we think one is required or not, but they have certain guidelines for the number of movements, so the number of takeoffs and landings, the mix of traffic, whether they're flying by visual flight rules or instrument flight rules. There's a whole bunch of factors at play, and they just think we're not meeting that as of now. But to be honest, it's also a discussion about money. It costs money.
How did money get involved?
Yeah. It costs money to build a tower. It costs money to staff it, and it costs money to build the radar that would be required to have it. So
if you did have a tower, then does that mean that some of these little, like the light aircrafts and those kinds of things, like would they have a harder time landing then as soon as that comes in, or is there?
No.
So there's no negative side of getting this. It's okay.
No, there's not. No, the tower would not prevent anyone from flying here, and we certainly wouldn't want to have one if it did. Like I said, Seneca College has 22 airplanes,
and they're going and coming all the time.
Yeah, you bet. The flight training, and we're in a pilot shortage right now.